Chair, it's 6:30. May we begin? I have a few preliminary matters. This is Jamaica McNeil, the Deputy City Clerk. This meeting is being held with a quorum of the City of Westlake Education and Youth Advisory Board members physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Board members Jennifer Bermudez, Lisa Liriano, Wesley. Alternate board member Earl Wright are present physically. Board members Julie Acevedo and Robin Medvets provide previous notice that they would not be in attendance. Student Youth Representative Thomas Karabowski is physically in attendance. Staff members physically in attendance, City Clerk Zoe Burgess and Deputy City Clerk Jamaica McNeil. Allow me to confirm any guest speakers that are virtually present and available to speak. Mrs. Marcia Andrews, are you present and available to speak?
Present.
Mr. James S. Gavrilos, are you present and available to speak? Mr. James Gavrilos, are you present and available to speak?
Yes, I am present and ready to speak when called upon. Good evening, folks.
Public comment cards may be accepted at least 24 hours prior to the meeting, utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are also permitted at the appropriate time during the meeting. The chair will call for such during the public comment, and you may participate at this time utilizing the system's virtual hand feature and waiting to be acknowledged if you wish to comment. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. However, you can unmute yourself by pressing *6. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed from the meeting. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please project your voice so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. Please allow me to confirm any guest speakers that are virtually present and available to speak. Mrs. Teresa Darabowski, are you present and available to speak?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Board Chair.
Good evening. This is a meeting of the Education and Youth Advisory Board. Today is July 15th, 2021. I would like to call this meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Deputy City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call. Board Member Julie Acevedo. Absent. Board Member Lisa Liriano.
Present.
Chair Jennifer Bermudez.
Present.
Vice Chair Robin Medvets. Absent. Board Member Wesley Logsdon. Alternate Board Member Earl Wright. Present. We have a quorum.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There being no oath of office, moving along to the next item. The next order of business we have is the approval of the agenda. Does the board have any additions or deletions to the agenda? If none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as it is presented?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Deputy City Clerk, please call the roll.
We have a motion by Board Member Liriano, second by Alternate Board Member Earl Wright. Roll call. Board Member Lisa Liriano,
Yes.
Chair Jennifer Bermudez, Alternate Board Member Earl Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
Next order of business is public comments. The board will entertain any comments from the public. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to address the board. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. Please address the board from the podium. And prior to addressing the board, state your name and address for the record. Deputy City Clerk, have you received any previous comment cards?
No previous comment cards were received. However, I will give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand or unmute their device, stating their name and address. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may press *6. Please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes. Chair, I see no virtual hands.
Thank you. The next order of business is the approval of minutes. We have presented to us the draft meeting minutes from March 11th, 2021 and April 22nd, 2021. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Chair, if I may, as a formality, I just wanted to let the board know that the March 11th minutes are on the agenda again because it was noted that they weren't approved at the April 22nd meeting minutes. So that's why they are before the board again.
Motion approved.
Please second the motion.
I have a motion by Alternate Board Member Earl Wright to approve the meeting minutes of March 11th of the Education and Youth Advisory Board and the April 22nd Education, Youth and Advisory Board. Roll call. Chair Jennifer Bermudez.
Yes.
Alternate Board Member Earl Wright.
Yes.
Board Member Lisa Liriano.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
The next order of business are presentations. We have several presentations this evening, and our first presentation is from Principal Brian McClellan. Give him a tongue twister. To provide a school update and overview for Osceola Creek Middle School.
You there, anyone? Okay. Well, first I wanted to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to discuss Osceola Creek Middle School with the board. I had the pleasure of meeting this group about a little over a year ago, so it's nice to be able to highlight the school that hopefully the majority of the Westlake citizens will go to for Osceola Creek. I wanted to share with you our mission statement. I don't want to insult your intelligence, so I'll give you just a moment to read through that, but this is what we strive to do each and every day at Osceola Creek in Bear Country. Just to give you a little bit of history from Osceola Creek, the school was established in 2004. We're entering into our 18th school year. We have been an A since the day we opened up the doors there in Bear Country. And unfortunately, due to last year, we did not get a school grade, and we are waiting on the school grade to come this year. So we're hoping that tradition continues. We have an outstanding student, staff, and community service. Prior to being at Osceola, I was at Seminole Ridge for the 9 years leading up, so I'm very familiar with the Loxahatchee community. And I can comfortably say, not just my 3 years at Osceola, but my 12 years out here, it's a great group of individuals we have in the community here.
Just one moment, I'll have to do the video for you.
Okay, sure. I did just want to, we have a promotional video I wanted to share with you, just so you can see some of our staff and some of our students in action. I was wondering how this one was going to work.
Hold on. One moment, it's the volume.
Yeah, and if it gives us a headache, we can just move on. It's not that big. While we're waiting, I will say hi, Dr. Andrews. I haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you.
Sound is not playing.
Yeah, it's
Great to see you too.
really good.
The sound is not playing. Oh, I got it.
Advanced class, that's
Teachers and administrators provide an educational environment in which students are challenged, excellence is expected, and differences are valued. The slogan here, making success unavoidable. Osceola Creek Middle School offers 2 choice programs. Students who live anywhere in Palm Beach County can attend the school and study either pre-veterinary equine or multimedia and TV production. Pre-veterinary equine. This program emphasizes science and math skills. The students study animals in the classroom.
So who can tell me the difference between the multi-tiered cage and the stacked cage?
Then take that knowledge and learn about the animals firsthand. Students take care of bunnies, rats, and chinchillas. They're responsible for feeding, grooming, and caring for the animals on a daily basis. The coursework also includes labs and guest speakers. In multimedia and TV production, the goal is to put together an actual TV newscast. Students have a chance to be news anchors, camera operators, floor directors, graphic artists, audio technicians, and directors. Students can show their creative sides and prepare for a career in today's ever-changing media industry. Osceola Creek Middle School puts an emphasis on STEAM. STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. In this STEAM class, students work in groups to solve real-world problems.
My team has decided.
In this project, students create solutions to reduce the amount of plastics in the ocean. Osceola Creek Middle also offers an AVID program. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination.
AVID is very, very fun. It's exciting, and the reason why is because it's helping you to organize.
Organizational skills to help students achieve success in high school and college. The AVID class also provides lessons in problem solving, time management, and decision making.
Whoosh, all right.
There are also lots of opportunities to show your creative side of the school. Osceola Creek's band program is very popular with students.
Whenever I'm stressed out, band always helps me because you can play like as loud as you want, and it's like a whole big family.
Now that you can see and hear their talent, you can understand why they play a number of different events in the community. The key to the success of the school? The staff. Teachers really care about their students. And these professionals work hard to make sure these young men and women succeed. From this math class to science class, these students learn by doing. They're engaged in science experiments that focus on sound waves, the reflective qualities of water, and the position and characteristics of lenses. These days, there's tremendous emphasis on technology. Students are fortunate to be able to use one of 8 computer labs and 1 mobile lab. Here, students can write, create, read, and even take a test online. When it comes to extracurricular activities, Osceola Creek students can participate in programs like Lego Robotics, Yearbook, and Drama. The school also has successful sports teams, including softball, soccer, and volleyball. There are many teams, clubs, and programs at this school, outstanding academics, and plenty of activities to pursue. Osceola Creek Middle School has a lot to offer. I'm Rick Blackwell for the School District of Palm Beach County, your best choice.
Just one moment, I have to make you back presenter.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Well, thanks for taking a minute just to see some of the kids and the staff in action.
So we didn't do it. Our clients didn't do it. We're gonna say, Rose.
It should be ready to
Good,
go.
all right.
Actually, I recognize a lot of those kids that.
Yeah, I'm
their
sure.
first students over some of them, or a couple, two of them I saw on there just graduated.
Try it again. Hold on, let me see if I can try it again.
So in a nutshell, we're one of the smaller middle schools in the county. We do have just about 750 students. We have approximately 50 teachers on campus. As we mentioned in the video, there's quite a few electives that we have to offer. Now, due to our size, we don't have as many electives as most schools, I'll be honest on that one, but we are proud of the electives that we are offering, and we're hoping over the time with Westlake and other communities, we have the ability to grow to offer students more of those options. As mentioned in the video, there are multiple choice program academies that we offer with the TV productions, as well as the Pre-Veterinary Academy, as well as the AVID program that we have on campus. And all three of those are application programs for students that are interested in that and to apply to get in.
Those are both choice academies then?
No, the TV production and the Pre-Veterinarian are choice academies. AVID, we have the students go through an application process that consists of an interview. So if you're interested, you get to get screened for an application. You have to have teacher recommendations as well. And then we take the most deserving candidates and place them in. Now, this is our fourth year going in, we have not had to deny any students access as we've been able to accommodate them with capacity, but we're hoping as the program continues to grow in popularity and size, there's more students that demand that program as well.
With those choice programs, how many out-of-boundary seats do you think you're pulling in right now?
It varies by year. This past year, we bring in approximately 75 or so seats a year that we open up, depending upon the year. Now, being 3 grade levels, that changes potentially every year. Last year we had a lot of 8th grade openings, which affords a lot of options for incoming 6th graders. Next year we may not have as many seats as we have, just due to the fact that we can only accommodate up to 10 classes. So it's usually 2 classes of 1 grade level, 2 8th, 2 7th, 1 6th, and that kind of rotates every 3 years. So it varies, but this year we were able to accommodate 75 kids.
So 75 6th graders incoming that are out-of-boundary?
No, 75 total for both programs. Now we take 7th graders in there as well. And we don't take the 8th graders into the programs because you really can't get enough out of the program over 1 year. But we feel like over 2 years you can get exposure to that program. And Earl, I know with you riding the program down there, it's great to have that experience coming to you from the TV with multiple years.
I was just trying to get a gauge for, looking where your numbers are and where eventually the cap will be, how many out-of-boundary seats are pulled in that make up that, or it sounds like that's a small amount.
Well, it's a small amount due to the seat availability that we have. Now, if we have more options and more teachers that we can expand that program, we will be able to accommodate more seats. Hey, Ms. Walker, it's great to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. In addition to the programs, we also have before care and after care programs for our families that are in need in that. And with middle school starting at 9:30, not everybody has the flexibility for their kids to stay at home and get the bus. So we do open our doors at 7 a.m. for any families interested. And then at 5:30, then the aftercare stops. So we give that extra 2.5 hours on the front end, an extra hour and 15 minutes on the back end for families that need that. In addition, as was mentioned in the video, athletics and extracurricular opportunities, we afford the same options that all schools offer in there. We don't have to compromise the sports offering due to our size. We are able to accommodate all the sport requests. I just want to give you a brief overview of our school as well. When you look, it's kind of looking at our enrollment numbers. Predominantly, we're about 50% white. We're 32% Hispanic, 14% Black. What I have started to see when I first started there, it was a 56% white, so there has been a transition where our Hispanic population has been our largest growing population over the last 3 years. We have been able to accommodate more of those students, and we've actually earned our first ESOL teacher due to that demand of students this past year, where we have an English language arts teacher designated specifically for our English language learners this upcoming year. You can also see our free and reduced lunch. Last year we were at 56%. When I got there, we were at 48%. So we have seen an increase in our free and reduced lunch population over the last few years as well. I just want to give an overview, our most recent statistics from the state for our scoring. Again, we did earn the 602 points, which is enough for the A grade. We have earned an A grade, as I mentioned, since we opened the doors in 2004-05 school year. And it gives, again, the overall percentages for each respective component. Obviously, we're always looking until those numbers say 100% in each cell, there's always opportunity for improvement. So we're always looking to improve in those areas and instill the continuous improvement model mindset, not only with our students, but our staff, to try to capitalize on any opportunities we see out there for our students. Athletic opportunities as well. As I mentioned, we do have all of the sports, but I just wanted to list them so everybody can see. The traditional baseball, basketball, soccer, volleyball, and track and field is available to any student that's interested in it. There's no grade level requirement or prior experience necessary. Tryouts are open for everyone. As mentioned, you can't see it too well there, but extracurricular opportunities, those seem to vary annually, and it's really dependent upon what the kids express interest in and what staff members we have to sponsor the clubs. We try to put surveys out for our students so they can express what clubs they want, and then we look for the sponsors of those respective clubs to be able to accommodate student requests. This past year was very interesting. We were able to still keep our clubs actually together, even though we were in a more of a virtual setting. And we had a lot better turnout, to be honest with you, from the virtual setting. When you take into consideration students with buses that can't typically attend after school, we did tutoring through a virtual setting, and we saw that the numbers increased. So we're really kind of having that discussion now about what do clubs and tutoring look like moving forward? How can we accommodate those groups? But what makes us us is, I'm biased. I'm the principal of the school, but I really think we're a hidden gem in the West community here, not only the West community, but Palm Beach. The uniqueness of this community and the quaintness of it is our teachers know just about every kid in that school, regardless if they have that kid or not. We do share property with Frontier Elementary, which helps establish that relationship. We do host their students to come over. We visit their students, but we really have a more intimate feel than what I'm accustomed to. I've been at larger schools, but it's very unique. I started my career at Coniston Middle School, and when I compare the two schools, it's programs are the same, the courses are the same. It's the relationships with the students that the staff has that makes us unique, in my opinion. St. Thomas may be an advocate for that, just having attended the school, but as when I mentioned earlier, we have limitations in terms of the electives that we have offering based on how many teachers we get. That's a strength when it comes to the relational side with the students, I feel. With this one, I just wanted to open up to see if there's any questions or anything that you guys would like to discuss about Osceola Group.
Where are we looking for enrollment for this year so far? Does it look like it's static or is it rising, lowering?
When you go to our projections, we're always projected right around 750, 760. Last year we were projected at 760. With the pandemic, we ended up about 735. This year we're projected to be about 755. Currently, we're sitting at 742. Now, I met with the data processor just about hourly at this time of year because it gets a little anxious about how many teachers we're going to have. We were able to put 12 new registrations in today alone. What we have recognized is this specific community has a lot of students coming in. So what we have is we have pending completions to where we can enroll. The parents are, hey, I've got my contract, I'm here, my house just isn't done, or hey, I'm moving there in 4 months. So we see the pipeline coming from this community. But right now we're sitting just over 740 with hopes of getting over 750.
I was wondering, knowing how many kids are moving in, like you said, I know there's a 12-year-old who didn't just down the street to be a 7th grader for you this year. Just the last month. Right
now our 6th grade numbers are a little lower, but we're unsure how to interpret that just given the conditions. Like I said, we're seeing kids come in every day, but last year when some withdrew to go to home, home ed and varying options, right now our 6th grade is just over 200 kids, and usually we're about 250. So we're expecting that to increase. There was a charter school that closed. We have had some students start to transition back to us. We've been reaching out to all of our students that went to the home ed side last year. And again, just consistently fielding calls and emails regarding this respective community. Okay.
I just want to say, Brian, as a parent.
Just one more, Chair, are you going to allow comment? So you have to come up to the podium and speak? Yeah.
Do you want my address?
Yeah, state your name and address for the record.
Charlene Hargowski, 5948 Buttonbush. And I just want to say, as an educator and a parent, everything Brian says is true. And he didn't mention the opportunities for advanced academics that they offer at his school. Thomas was so well prepared to go into high school. Before I went to elementary school, I spent 16 years working in middle school. And the culture and the relationships at that school is different than anything I've ever experienced. I don't hesitate to recommend Osceola Creek to anyone. I'm very proud of the education that my child got there, so.
Appreciate it. It's great to see Thomas.
Do you have any further comments? Questions?
And really, guys, again, I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to highlight Osceola. I'm very proud of the school, and I'm very appreciative of you guys inviting us to highlight our school. I'm hoping that this relationship can continue throughout the years, and we can have a lot of families from Westlake with a similar approach as Ms. Grabowski, and a pleasure. Again, please feel free. We have all of our information on our website, and I have attached the phone number. But as we're open, we're here for you. So it's never a bad time to reach out to us and let us know how we can help you. Thanks again.
Thank you
Brian,
so much.
you mentioned limited electives. What electives do you guys offer?
We offer, the ones we listed there, the band, the STEAM. We don't have language yet. I'd love to be able to get language. We don't have art yet. I'd love to be able to get art. You know, currently where we don't have those options, art, drama, language, we offer as clubs after school, but I'd love to afford, I'd love to get to the point where we can offer them to a larger amount of students on a consistent basis through the regular school day.
So at 750 now, if you were closer to the projected numbers of like your capacity is 1,075, that would be something where you could potentially have
When we
those.
start looking at those numbers, we start to be able to compare to similar schools of that size where we do have more teachers and more opportunities, you know, but our primary focus is to make sure that the kids get a core education. So we get a little larger opportunities, we're just going to be limited in those offerings, but we're hoping over time we can expand those for our students. I mean, you always still have to offer your science, math, English, and social studies, but the more you grow, the more people you get. So we're hoping to be able to get, you know, I'd love to be able to get into that 800 person range in the next year or two. And then, you know, over that, maybe a 2-year goal to get to the 900 person range. And then we can get the more consistent offerings of the dramas, the arts, the Spanish, and the world languages. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Informative. Okay, our second presentation is from President CEO Mr. James S. Gavrilos to discuss Education Foundation of Palm Beach County.
Thank you. And I'm so wise and smart. I just managed to unplug the light in my house, so hopefully you can still see me. I have this ghostly appearance. It is a pleasure to be with you tonight, and I thank you for the opportunity. I also want to introduce Teresa Dabrowski, who's our Chief Engagement Officer. Teresa corrects me when I go off script or when I give wrong information. So nice to have you aboard, Teresa. And Madam Marcia Andrews, it is always a pleasure to be with you. Now, most of you out here know Marcia Andrews as a school board member, as a dedicated community leader and a community servant. We know her as one of the best warehouse volunteers you've ever seen in your life. You haven't lived until you've seen Marcia Andrews unload a truck. I've been there, I've watched it. So let me try and fairly briefly sum up the work of the Education Foundation. We have two basic operations. We are a grant-making organization, and then we operate our Red Apple supplies, which I'll get to Red Apples in about 4 minutes here. On the grant side of the house, we have basically 3 buckets, small, medium, and large. Our small bucket is where what we call our Go Teach grants. Go Teach grants begin at $1,000 for an individual teacher or $1,500 for a collaborative effort, up to $3,000 for Go Reach grants, slightly more competitive. And this year we're actually offering $5,000 Go Teach grants. To put this into perspective, last year we awarded 73 Go Teach grants totaling about $105,000. What we're looking for in these grants is something creative, something innovative. We like teachers who are trying a new program, a new curriculum, and they need some extra funding to buy supplies or to perhaps purchase curriculum or materials they need. Some of the things we've done in the past, something as simple as funding one teacher in a class for English as second language learners, where she was teaching English using drama, and the young people did a performance of The Little Mermaid. We've purchased tablets for hard to hear students and hard of speaking students, where they were able to communicate with their teachers. The one that we really point to as a symbol of what this program is, Mary Fish down at Spanish River High School in Boca had her students studying sepsis, which is what killed her father some 20 years ago. She started with the Go Teach grant. She continued to develop this program, and 2 years ago, MIT awarded her a grant of $10,000 to do research with her students on sepsis. So that's our Go Teach program. Principal McClellan, I was kind of smiling when you mentioned Seminole Ridge, because last year we had the video and the production of our Go Teach ceremony filmed by the students of Seminole Ridge. And we were so inspired by these young people, by their professionalism and by their grasp of the technology, that at the end of the night, we awarded them a $3,000 Go Reach grant. So go Seminole Ridge, you know, we love supporting the young people.
Thank you, James.
Listen, our pleasure. That was just, as I said, the small bucket. Then we get to our medium bucket, which is the matching grant program. Every year, the state of Florida apportions out some funds to each of the education foundations, as long as they're matched dollar for dollar with local dollars. Last year, we were awarded about $296,000, which we then matched with $296,000 local dollars, and we fund larger programs, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 programs. We tend to focus on STEM, literacy, college readiness, and career readiness. Again, Principal McClellan, you mentioned AVID. We are one of the funders of the district's AVID program. For the last 4 or 5 years, we've been awarding an $80,000 grant to support the training of AVID teachers throughout the district. Shout out to our local partner, Bank of America, who provides the matching dollars. Another program that we talk about a lot are the Subarus. These are the young students in the robotics program out at Pahokee Middle School, funded by Florida Power and Light, Aerojet Rocketdyne, SRG Technologies, and some of the principal players out of that part of the county. To see these young people who are now opening up to the reality that there is more to life and there are more opportunities than just football, than just sports, to really elevate them out of poverty has been so exciting for us. We're also funding a pilot literacy program that can identify students who may be dyslexic as early as kindergarten. This is what we call charging forward with multisensory strategies. So again, there's about $600,000 in matching grants that we awarded. Our third bucket is the large bucket. These are what we call our foundation operated programs. We're now operating and funding 3 career academies. We're very heavily committed to preparing our young people for life. So we received a grant from JP Morgan Chase 4 years ago for $200,000, and we established the Fire Science Academy at Palm Beach Lakes. With support from Carrier, we have members of Carrier on our board of directors. We're supporting the HVAC program at Royal Palm High School. And with funding from the Frederick DeLuca Foundation, we have established a cybersecurity program at Santa Lucia's Community High School. We're looking to just continue to build these programs as we find that sweet spot. Kelly Smallridge from the Business Development Board is on our board of directors, and we're working closely with Kelly to identify the careers that are going to be in Palm Beach County in the next 5 to 10 years. And then we want to fund academies that will lead young people into those careers. The whole reason we exist is to bring the business community to the world of education. Annually, we raise, and when I say we, I mean Teresa. Teresa, give us a wave because she's the driving force there. We raise about $2 million in local dollars to make sure that these programs are funded. Now, that's just one thing that we do. That's the grant side of the house. Now we get to Red Apple Supplies, something that has really become our signature program. Annually, the average teacher in America spends about $500 a year out of their own pocket buying school supplies for their students. And to the city council, to the chair, to the members, Marcia, you've heard me say this 100 times. In a country like the United States, I think that's absolutely horrifying. That we take our teachers who are underpaid and overworked to begin with, and then we ask them to dip into their own pocket to buy school supplies. 5 years ago, we launched Red Apple Supplies. We started with 8 schools, and then we went to 32, then we went to 43, then we went to 53. Last year, we served 63 schools. We're serving the neediest of the needy. We started serving schools who have 95% or more of their students on free or reduced lunch. In the district, and these numbers are somewhat dated, they're from last year, there are 53 schools where there are 95% of the kids on free or reduced. There's an additional 37 where 90% of the kids are on free or reduced. And ladies and gentlemen, when you extrapolate those numbers together, that means in half of our district schools, there are 179 schools, in half of them, 9 out of 10 kids live below the poverty level. And I'm going to pause for about 3 seconds to just let that number sink in. According to the last census, as reported by the Palm Beach Post 2 years ago, 1 out of 5 children in Palm Beach County live below the poverty level. Joseph Stalin once said, the death of one person is a tragedy. The death of 10,000 is a statistic. And I think that's what happens. Okay, so 1 out of 5 kids live below poverty. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a school district the size of Palm Beach, that's 40,000 children. 40,000 kids who are going to school in 3 weeks who won't be able to afford pencils and pens. I'm very proud to say that last year, Red Apple Supplies distributed $1,100,000 in school supplies throughout the district. Marcia was very gracious and spent a day with us when we were sort of baptizing our new truck. 3 of the foundations in town ponied up the dollars, and we were able to acquire a box truck. And we can now accept much larger donations. For example, Scholastic Books donated 26 pallets of books to us. And we were able to go out to every school in the Glades and Pahokee and leave a pallet of books. And ladies and gentlemen, when you see teachers crying because it's the first time that their students will have a book to call their own, it really just inspires you to do more. We were able to get a pallet of Scholastic books to every one of those schools in the furthermost western part of our county, the schools that really need our support the most. I say with Ms. Andrews on this call, the school district, in particular our school board, could not be more supportive of Red Apple Supplies, so much so that they are looking at giving us space to build a permanent facility. In the next few months, we hope we'll get all the details worked out. But Marcia, we just left the meeting with our architect, and we're looking at building a 20,000 square foot warehouse because you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. In 8 years, we will be serving all 179 schools in this district through Red Apple Supply. There are 130 schools in the district, and 125,000 kids that are in programs that are supported by the Education Foundation. Some of the grant programs, some of the other things that we're working on, but also then through Red Apple Supplies. Our goal in the next 8 years is to serve every single one of the schools through Red Apple. No teacher should ever have to dip into their pocket and spend $1 to buy a pencil or a pen for their students. When the pandemic hit and we were forced to go to remote learning a year and a half ago, through Teresa's energy and innovation, we created Kits for Kids. And we were actually going to the school sites where the young people were picking up their meals, and we were passing out kits. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the realities. I had a regional superintendent call me up and say, James, I've got a girl in high school in a school in my district, and she's doing her school lessons with a crayon because she doesn't have a pen at home. Again, just let that sink in for a minute. So Teresa created Kits for Kids. Last year, we passed out about 5,000 kits for kids. Another one of our signature programs is our backpack initiative. Every August, we partner with U.S. Sugar, the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, Gunster, Florida Power and Light, some other local funders, and we distribute about 5,000 to 6,000 backpacks to students. And this will be the backpack plus all the school supplies they'll need for the year. Marcia, we've been targeting 5,000. I can't keep my staff down. They're the most amazing people. Really, to this board, as I've said repeatedly, you could replace me with a bass drum, but if you took my staff away, this whole thing would fall apart. Teresa has raised so much money. We've added another 1,000 backpacks. We just ordered another 1,000 backpacks yesterday, Marcia. So we will be distributing 6,000 backpacks in the month of August. Obviously, you can imagine Office Depot is one of our principal funders and supporters, as well as numerous other local companies. So that's kind of the work that we do at the Education Foundation. Principal McClellan, are you still on this call?
Yes.
Well, you mentioned Avid, and I talked about my staff, so I have to tell you, I must be a really smart guy because trust me, I ain't the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree, but I hire really smart people. I don't know if you remember Becky Youngman, but Becky Youngman now works for us. We hired Becky part-time a few months back, and so she has brought her incredible experience running the Avid program and just being an amazing worker in the district for so many years. But Becky is the 7th person on our staff, and again, she's only part-time. So we accomplish all this work with 6.5 people, but they're passionate of the 6.5, so let's say 7, including Becky. 4 of them, including Teresa, who's on the screen with you, are former teachers. 2 or 3 of our people are former teachers in the Palm Beach County School District. So we have a great passion for education. We have a great passion for bringing the business community and uniting it to the world of education. And ultimately, we're here to serve you. I always close my presentations with the school board by saying, we are here. We're your education foundation, serving the needs of the students, teachers, and schools in the finest school district in the state of Florida. So my clock tells me I'm at 11 minutes. I've gone 1 minute over. So I will pause here and take some questions if you have. And again, you're welcome to ask myself or Teresa or my best warehouse worker, Marcia Andrews.
That was very informative. It was a lot of information, and we really appreciate your help and your efforts to our county. I think there's so many, underprivileged students and just a lot of situations, especially last year with everything going on and COVID being another factor, that I appreciate it. And I know.
Well, I appreciate that. And I have to say, there are so many ways that people can get involved, and take municipalities, something as simple as getting the support education license plate. When anyone in Palm Beach County gets that license plate, those $20 come to us, and we are required by law to spend every dollar of that on teacher programs. We don't keep any for overhead. And so, outfit all of your cars and all of your municipal vehicles with the education license plate. Have a supply drive. Hey, here's a fun idea for the city council. Take the month of August, and instead of people paying parking tickets, they can bring in $20 worth of school supplies. I guarantee you those supplies will get to someone who needs it. I will personally bring out supply drive boxes, and I'll drive the truck, and I'll bring Marcia Andrews to help me offload the truck. We'll make sure those school supplies get to kids who need them. So there's a number of ways that local municipalities can get involved. As we start the capital campaign to build our Red Apple Supply, our new facility, if any of you know people in your community who might want to support that, please reach out to Teresa or myself. But again, we are the handmaid of the school district. Our job is to support the school board, our superintendent, and everything we can do to make sure that every teacher, student, and school has the resources they need. Palm Beach County is an incredibly philanthropic community. What has happened is they've woken up and recognized they need to support education. So some exciting things happening.
Well, James, I just want to tell you guys, thank you. You guys run a great program, and I was happy to have my students work with you guys this year and being the beneficiary from your program. Again, I didn't know how much you guys did as a teacher in the district now for 21 years. I didn't know how much you guys actually do, and seeing it firsthand and then getting the money when we actually needed it this year was really, had a big impact for my students. I know that.
Well, get out to your teachers, because the greatest joy that we all have is giving money away. And tell your teachers, go to our website, apply for a Go Teach grant. We say we're giving away $100,000. Yay! I won't be happy until we're giving away $200,000. And when we're giving $200,000 away, I won't be happy until we get to $300,000. The money's not the problem. You can't outgive God. The money is there. People in Palm, and I have to say this to you, to elected officials, people in Palm Beach County are so generous, and they believe in our school board. They believe in our teachers. They want to support people like Gunster, FP&L, Comcast, Wells Fargo, PNC, TD Bank. These people call us up and say, what can we do to support education? The DeLuca Foundation, Mr. DeLuca was the founder of Subway Restaurants. His widow now lives in Broward County, and they've just fallen in love with the Education Foundation. They call us up and say, how can we give you guys more money? These are the kind of people we have in Palm Beach County. Help us help the teachers. Let us get to the teachers and principals and let them dream. Let them dream big, so that the business community can support them, and we make sure that our kids have the best education possible.
And so often we have people ask how and where, where do we get the funds, or how, do we get the supplies that we need? So I hope that, today we just take a lot of what you have said and spread that, to our community.
That's all we can ask for.
So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you.
Yes.
Our third presentation is from Ms. Marcia Andrews, District 6 Palm Beach County School Board. to discuss the opening of Palm Beach County schools for the 2021-2022 school year.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. It was my pleasure to hear you, James Bervelis, talk about the Education Foundation. I'm so happy I was sitting here and working with you to say thank you in the middle of this meeting with Westlake. I really love the Education Foundation. The work that you do for our children and our teachers is commendable. And your staff, the volunteers, all of the business partners that we have in the Palm Beach County School District, you do it every year. You make so many students happy, so many teachers happy, and I'm thanking you personally before I begin my presentation because we couldn't do it without you and the Education Foundation. So thank you so much for everything that you do. And it's my pleasure to serve as your school board member for District 6, covering Westlake, the Acreage, Loxahatchee, the Western communities. I'm so happy to be here tonight to present to you. First, I want to say to Brian over at Osceola, Brian McClellan, thank you so much for being such a great principal at Osceola Creek. I'll do it. I can tell you that all of our schools, they've been a school since I've been your board member. We have excellent principals, excellent teachers, great students, great parents, a wonderful community. You know that right there being in Westlake, our newest county in the county of Palm Beach, our newest city in the county of Palm Beach County. You know what it's like to be in a great area and you're there. So I'm just happy to be a part of this meeting tonight to give you information about the opening of school and to tell you firsthand that I appreciate our teachers, our principals, our staff, our students. I appreciate you and our community. We've been in this pandemic for over a year, looking at 16, almost 17 months of really being in a serious pandemic with COVID-19, the coronavirus, all the kinds of things that have impacted us as a community, as a school district, and we've all come together. And we could not have done it for our children if we had not had excellent teachers, excellent principals, excellent schools. The whole school community had to pull through. The bus drivers, the school food service, everybody, the guidance counselors, the mental health counselors, everyone, the custodians, everybody. You pulled together during these last months of this pandemic, and you took yourself out of the picture to make sure that you gave to the boys and girls of Palm Beach County to make sure that we were a success. And we could not have done it without you. So before I start talking about where we're going for the future, I just want to give us a hand and a thank you for all of you. You're angels. You made the difference for our children, and we could not have done it without you. And I want to tell you that we've got some big news tonight. You probably heard it just yesterday as we heard it. We are losing our fabulous superintendent who is decided now that he is going to resign. He feels that it's a time in his life, and this pandemic has done a lot of damage to a lot of people, mentally, socially, emotionally, to adults as well as students. Our superintendent has told the board, me and all the rest of the board members, that he needs to take time out to be with his family. And I said yesterday at the board meeting, our families come first. And when you know you have to do something to make a difference in your family, then you have to stop everything that you're doing and make that a priority. And he lost his in-laws, his mother-in-law and his father-in-law last year to COVID. That was a major impact in his life. He has 2 little children, a wife, a family, and his parents, who are there with him now saying, we miss you, son. We haven't seen you in over a year. This is what this pandemic has done. It's kept us in our bubble so that we could stay safe. And so he said to us, I've got to take care of my family, my immediate family. I've got to take care of my parents who at this point in their lives need their son to be a little closer, and I've got to let it go. And so we have to honor that. When any of us say to us, that our families need us, we have to step aside and give them the room to do what's necessary and make family first. So as we begin to look at the process of finding a new superintendent, it's a big job. We're the 10th largest school district in the United States of America. And it's a big job to be the superintendent. When we're talking about almost 200,000 children in Palm Beach County School District, 23,000 employees, we're the largest employer in Palm Beach County. It truly is a big job. Now, as we began to figure out where we go from here, since we just got the information on yesterday, we recognize we have talented staff here in Palm Beach County. And we know that since the superintendent said he has to go, he has 90 days to help us get prepared for his transition to something else. And so we're looking at possibilities of maybe an interim superintendent stepping in to help us get started with the beginning of the school year. We're possibility of doing maybe a national search so we can get a permanent superintendent. But we just know we have excellent staff here in Palm Beach County, and we will not miss a beat in making sure that we are ready to open schools with a leader at the helm as superintendent interim, as well as looking at what we need to do maybe over the next year to find the permanent replacement for the 10th largest school district in the United States of America. And we can't do all of that by ourselves, Westlake. I'm going to be asking you, as well as all of the other school board members, to be asking for your input on what we need to do as we move forward, as we look for our next leader. And our leader has to be certainly student focused, with an emphasis on success for every child, working throughout our schools and our communities, making a difference. And so we know that you have many ideas, and we are having a board meeting on next Wednesday. And if you'd like to make a comment, we'd love for you to make a comment. We'd love for you to come to the board meeting. We'd love for you to call into the board meeting if you'd like. I would love for you to email me as well as all the other board members, because you may have some real big ideas on how you can help us as we move through this transition of selecting a new superintendent. So I wanted to start off by telling you that we don't have all the answers as school board members, and we don't work in isolation from our stakeholders, who are our parents, our communities, and our elected officials. We need you to help us, especially as we move forward with new leadership of the 10th largest school district in the United States of America. But we wish Dr. Fenoy well. We thank him for the work that he's done for the school district of Palm Beach County. We thank all of our principals, our teachers, our staff, all of the district leaders who have been a part of the superintendent's executive team. They've made it happen. We did not have to close one school during the pandemic. Many other districts had to shut down schools. Palm Beach County did not have to shut down any schools. We had to make the modifications to keep everybody safe, but we were able to make it through. And we are getting better. We still have things to do, but we are getting better. So tonight, I just want to tell you, on this call with me is Maria Bishop and Camille Long. Camille Long is your region superintendent. She actually oversees all of the schools in the western region of your area, as well as Maria Bishop, your instructional superintendent. They're in and out of the schools every single day. They do the operational, administrative things to help our principals, our teachers, and our staff to be ready to do the wonderful things that they do. As well as your school board member, I'm on the ground, visiting schools, talking to you tonight, and doing whatever I can do to make sure I'm always communicating with you to make sure that we make the best decisions as possible as it relates to children first. So it's an exciting time to be here tonight to talk to you about where we are from here. Now, I'm just going to talk with you about some of the things you already may know, but if there's some new things and you have questions, don't hesitate to stop me as I work through the process. School starts for all students on August 10th. Now, we were under the executive order of the governor that gave us the opportunity to have schools remote work as well as in person. So we were able to do both. Remember, at one while, we couldn't go back at all. We were all remote. But we were able to open our schools and give parents a choice to be either remote or come back to brick and mortar. And so this is where we have left off with being remote and brick and mortar. But now as we move into a better phase. Our health conditions are better. We're getting ready to go back to school on August 10th, and the doors will be open. The governor's executive order has sunsetted, and now we're saying to all of the parents, we will have to come back to the school building, to brick and mortar. And that's the main thing I want you to know. We're right now involved in heavy summer school. And summer school right now is at every school. We do not have any virtual summer school. We know that we have a lot of children that suffered during this pandemic. They suffered academically, emotionally, and socially. And during summer school, we're trying to catch a lot of students back up. We know with what has happened during this pandemic, it's going to take more than just going to summer school to catch everybody up. It's going to take us a few years to work through some of the processes. This pandemic impacted children differently. There's no two children alike. So some of the children were impacted more than others. Some children actually really did a great job in a virtual setting and were very successful. Many of them that were on the virtual had a hard time. And even coming back to brick and mortar in the conditions of where we were because of the pandemic, it was really trying for a lot of children. So it's been tough for our children, our teachers, our staff. Everybody has been through it, and I'm commending them as we move forward. So we start back on August the 10th. The policies and procedures that we had in place for COVID-19, we've relaxed many of those policies and procedures that told us what we wanted to do as it related to students, as it related to visitors coming to the campus, as it related to employees. We've relaxed those standards because we know we've got to open the doors. So as we begin to open up on August 10th, we know that right now the order from the governor says we've got to open up. But we do have options for some of the parents who may say, I just can't get my children back into the building yet. We're not ready to go yet. We need to kind of do something different. So we have two options. One is Palm Beach virtual option, and the other is the Florida virtual option. And those principals and those groups have been working closely with parents. They are interested in taking that option. That's available for them if they decide they do not want to come back to the school center. But as of August 10th, parents will have to have one of those options, either coming back to the brick and mortar, to the regular school building, or looking at Palm Beach virtual as an option or Florida virtual as an option. We know a lot of our ESE students, our ELL students, there are many conditions that we have to look at as we look at IEPs for ESE children. For many of our ELL students, there may be some difficulty for them just jumping right back in. And for some of the children, there may be some emotional and social things that may make them not want to come back to brick and mortar. So there are some other options other than just coming back to the schools. But the governor's mandate, the executive order says all schools must be open within the state of Florida for brick and mortar back into the school center. And that's where we are with the school district of Palm Beach County. And one of the big things that we've been working with, and people are frightened, and we know they are because we still have variants out there coming from different places and people are still afraid. We know that we don't have a vaccine for those children. We have it for 12-year-olds, but anybody under 12, we don't have any vaccine for them. We're hoping something is going to happen for them soon with some of the vaccines that we have out there, but we know we have nothing for the little ones right now. And we do have vaccines for 12 and over, but nothing for the little ones. So parents are a little edgy about facial coverings and masks and things like that, and coming back to total brick and mortar. But we will be open and face coverings will be optional. And that's been a lot of concern from some parents who felt like we should keep the face coverings for everybody. So you have two different groups. Many of them say, well, they should have been optional a long time ago because the little ones, the children in schools aren't impacted as much. But it just depends on who your household is, your child, and how you've been impacted by COVID-19. But what is going to happen with the school district of Palm Beach County so far, based on our work with the CDC, the healthcare district, and so on, face coverings will be optional. And so we want all the parents to know that. And we're looking at the 2-layer cloth face coverings, and the school district will have extra face coverings if a student doesn't have them, but they will have to have them when they come back into the school center. And we're looking at social distancing. It's going to be difficult when everybody comes back. We were able to do a great job with social distancing because a lot of the children were home and virtual. And we had a great deal to come back, but half of the folks were home. So we could do the 6 feet. And, you know, the CDC would love to see us do it at least 3 feet. We're going to do our best to do social distancing, but we don't know how well we're going to do that. We're going to do our best, and we're going to encourage it to every extent possible for social distancing. And, you know, we have a nurse in every school, so that's a great thing. A lot of districts don't have nurses in every school, but we have a nurse in every school. So we've been able to do a whole lot with checking our children out, with the rapid testing if needed, to make sure that, you know, we do contact tracing if we have symptoms and things like that. That's the reason we've been able to keep our schools open all year, because having that nurse in every school, working closely with the parents, making sure that they had the masks on, and making sure that they were tested, rapid testing. One thing that we have going on right now this summer, and hopefully we'll have it going on for the rest of the year, is we have mobile vaccine sites all across the district, not just for students, but for parents, because if we don't get everyone with the vaccine, it's going to be a problem for us. We've done pretty well in Palm Beach County, but we still have a long way to go to get more people the vaccine in their arms. So we're working it. And right now we have the mobile vaccine stations in the north, south, central parts of the county. And today you can find a place within the Palm Beach County School District to get a vaccine if you're looking for one. We want you to know too that we want the parents to know that we want them to check their students when we start back. I mean, you know, the bottom line is, you know, as parents, when your child is ill, if there's an issue with the temperature and things like that, we won't be able to allow them to be on virtual if for some reason they're having symptoms and they can't come to school or they have to isolate. We're going to do what we did in the past, where we always made sure if a student was absent because of an illness, we made sure that they had their work, the assignments, because we don't want anyone to fail. We want them to be successful. So we want them to be in isolation and not be at school when they're not feeling well, whether they have COVID or test positive or negative. If there's just some way that we feel that they're not well, we want them to stay home, working through the nurse, working with the parents to make sure that they're okay. And we're going to provide the necessary work for them so that they won't get behind academically. And so we will have those health procedures and protocols in place. You can go on our school district website and get this information that tells you exactly about everything that we're looking for as we move forward on August 10th. But the best thing to know that we are going back. We're going to make sure that we are going to pay close attention to all of our students to make sure they're safe and they're healthy, and that we're working closely with the parents, the health department, the CDC, trying to do social distancing, as well as making sure that we communicate to you parents that we're doing okay. We did really good this year in making sure that communications avenue was open with our district dashboard that told us if anyone had been impacted with COVID, you could look online and see that. Those are the kinds of things we'll continue to do. Now, one thing that parents are asking about is, what about athletics? Well, yes, athletics will start again at the middle school and high school level. We're going to reopen the concession stands. Clubs and school performances will resume in person. So it's almost like just where we left off before we started the pandemic. We're getting back to normal again. And we're going to resume after school programs and before school programs. Field trips will begin. We're going to be doing all the things that we used to do, but we will be looking cautiously at how well we're doing as far as our health is concerned. So we'll continually monitor the CDC, the healthcare district, the health department. They're working in conjunction with us, our school nurses. And if we have to make a change as a school district, we're going to do whatever we need to do. The governor is monitoring what's happening around the state of Florida, the Commissioner of Education, as well as the school superintendents, the school boards all over the state. We're all looking at each other. We're all in the same place as we open back up. And we're going to just make sure that we monitor how well we're doing. And if we have to make some changes, we'll make some changes. And as I said, you know, we had so many mental and behavioral health issues throughout this pandemic, not just for the children, but for the adults as well. We're going to continue. We're lucky in Palm Beach County that we have mental and behavioral health officials in every one of our schools, just like our school nurses. We have the mental and behavioral health people within our school talking to our students, talking to the adults, helping them to work through whatever issue that they may have. That's going to be helpful to us. We have co-located services, our CAPE team. We're just knowing that it's not just us by ourselves, not just about the health piece. It's also about the emotional and behavior health. And it's okay to ask for help. This is one of the things we teach our children, and you do too, to ask for help if you do need someone to talk to. And so we have highly trained, skilled professionals in place to help us out. And as we work with our employees, we want them to be vaccinated. I mean, we know that some of them may not have taken the vaccine yet, but we want them and we encourage them to get the vaccine. And we're asking them to go to our mobile stations and get the vaccine. We've had all kinds of programs in place to help all of our adults get vaccinated. We still have our contact tracing with face masks. If you know you need to wear a face mask, put it on. I just came off of a plane recently. Everybody had a face mask on. I mean, at the airports, I mean, depending on where you are, when you're in those tight quarters, you know you need to put your face mask on, even though when you walk outside of the airport or somewhere, you can take it off because you're in an open place. But you know you need to have it on when you're in those close quarters. And certainly if you feel that you may have some underlying issue, that's why the optional piece is out there. Keep your face mask on if you know you need it. So we're asking the employees to pay very close attention, to try to come to school and be in school. But if they have issues with their health, we want them to tell their principal, and our principals are very sensitive to make sure that they're working with all of their staff to help them work through this process. We're still in the pandemic. Even though we're getting better, we're still in the pandemic, and we know that we still have problems. For the visitors coming to the school, it's been tough where you couldn't come in, but we want you to comply with the directions from your school administrators related to health and safety, including but not limited to the common areas and the shared spaces. Face masks will be optional for the visitors. So you know you can do either way, but you know if you need to be wearing one, put one on based on what you're, but it is an optional choice for you. And the same thing, we encourage the 2 layers for you. And we want you as visitors to really work closely with the school to follow health and safety guidelines as it relates to the schools. And we want you to, if you're ill, please don't come to the school because we're trying to keep everybody healthy. And you know what those symptoms are. And take your temperature if you need to. We will still have our buildings. We're looking at trying to make sure that we have the plexiglass still in place. And you know, we've had that for all of those who are at the schools now at brick and mortar. That's going to stay in place. We'll still have a whole lot of signage, enhanced cleaning, all of these. We're going to be still doing the inspections and trying to make sure we keep everything clean and healthy. We're going to continue looking at the restrooms to make sure that everything's clean, monitoring our custodial supplies, making sure that we have the filters necessary because the air is what a big deal is all about when we start talking about filters. So we want to have those high-level filters installed, compatible units within our school to make sure that the air we're breathing is going to keep our children safe. So we're looking at sanitation and HVAC. And yes, we're going to have the buses running, but those students that are riding the bus will have to have a face mask. It's just the way it was with me when I was at the airport. I had to get my face mask on when I got on the plane, or if I get on the bus or in a taxi. You've got to keep your face mask on when you're on the bus. And the buses will be working to keep social distancing as much as possible. Seating charts will be there, so they're going to try to keep the children spaced out as much as possible. They're cleaning and sanitizing the buses the best that they can to keep it clean and safe for the children. School food service, that's a big deal when children couldn't eat lunch this past year together. We're working hard to make sure lunch will be served and consumed in the cafeteria, with some exceptions maybe, but we want the children to get back to the cafeteria and be with their friends and eat lunch. That's going to be a big deal that we're going to be able to do in August. And so we're looking at the menus and making sure that they're going to be able to eat, and guiding the principals and teachers on how they will go through the lines to get their lunches and govern themselves accordingly. You know that we are serving meals as we speak every single day for students and families at our schools. So that's something that's important, that everyone gets something to eat. And I want to commend the school food service employees. They are awesome. When we were shut down and nobody was back, the school food service employees were at the schools passing out those meals. They're still doing it, passing out those meals. We celebrate them. We honor them. They've been in there cooking and getting those meals ready, not just for the children, but for the entire families. So we're communicating at our school board, at our palmbeachschools.org website, all of the things that are going to be happening as we begin to open school on August 10th. I encourage you to keep up with the website. If you have any questions of me personally, you can certainly send me an email at marcia.andrews@palmbeachschools.org, marcia.andrews@palmbeachschools.org. Your principals are so awesome. They know what's going on. They've been open. They have not been shut down for the last year. They've been there. And for the period of time when we all were remote, they were remote because that's the way it was. But when we were able to open up again at the beginning of the year, the schools have been open, as you know, and the outstanding principals and teachers and staff have been there. But we did give those options to parents and children who chose not to come back. But now we're doing better. We're coming back, and we want to make sure that we take care of the needs of every child. And all students are different. So if for some child that can't make it back to brick and mortar, I want you to make sure that the parent knows that we have other options. And if they seem to be frustrated with how to do that, you can certainly refer them to me. At this time, I don't know if you have any specific questions, but I would love to be able to answer any questions that you may have for me at this time.
Thank you so much. That was very informative, and I think it'll give our community some answers to maybe some questions that they had in terms of what back to school is going to look like and some of the things that we're still implementing this year. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
There being no unfinished business, we're going to move along to the next item, new business. There's no new business, so we're going to move along to the next item. Board member comments, reports, updates. Does anyone on the board wish to speak?
Just wanted to provide the board with an update. At the April 22nd meeting, you had requested for Mr. Link to attend the meeting to provide a presentation. He is unable to make it, but he did advise that there were no updates since he presented before the city council on February the 8th meeting. So I have before you his presentation that he presented before the city council. If you guys are interested, or if the board is interested in listening to his presentation, it is available on the city's website, and it's dated February the 8th of 2021. I also wanted to provide an update. the board had requested for Principal Dr. James Campbell from Seminole Ridge to be present. However, he did advise that he was unable to attend this evening's meeting, but he would be available to present in August if the board would like.
That would be great. I think we could have, come back and just, do his presentation, that'd be nice too.
And we would also have to determine the actual next meeting date while we, so the meetings they should be held quarterly, but they can be held frequently as the board would like. So you would have to advise of the next meeting date that you guys would be available to meet.
I mean, what do you guys think? I know that just think August is gonna be a little hectic. I know for us, like our 11-day count is at the end of the month, at the end of August, which is telling to, what positions will gain or lose, or things are gonna stay the same in our schools. Would everybody be okay with meeting in September?
You guys would have to decide on a date, because I know in September, there are some holidays in September. Looks like according to the school approved calendar, the holiday is on the 6th and 7th, and then there's a holiday on the 16th. So I know the board meets on Thursday, so you would have to let me know which date in September.
Would the 23rd work for the members present? It's the second to last Thursday of the month. We also have the 30th, which is the last Thursday of the month.
I could do either one.
Yeah, I think 23rd is fine.
This is the 23rd.
So that's September 23rd. Thursday, September 23rd at 6:30. Okay. Also, another comment in reference to, we have the student youth representative here, Mr. Thomas Karabowski here before us. The board would need to determine his roles and responsibilities. He was elected and selected to represent Seminole Ridge High School, but you guys didn't discuss what you wanted him to do as far as being the communication rep between the board and the high school. So the board would need to determine his role and responsibilities so he knows how to move forward in reference to bringing back issues or concerns before the board based on things that are taking place at the high school, or if he has any ideas based on his presentation when he was selected.
I guess it would be great to have maybe Thomas go back to his school and maybe relay some of the information. I know, you're at the high school as well, but from a student's perspective, to maybe go back and just to reach out to his, community or the students at the school. I know, Thomas, I'm sure you have many good ideas. Do you have any initiatives yourself that you'd like to, that you have any ideas about that you want to get started on early in the year?
Just what?
Yeah. Shoot.
I'll just state my name and address.
You can state your name and address.
Thomas Kowalski, 5948 Buttonbush Drive. And I had a couple ideas going just before, as we're getting ready for the school year. Maybe one possibility, and I know Cindy Walker is here, and I know she's very good with the schools out here and stuff like that. So one thing that I had an idea for was maybe having like a Westlake night during the varsity football season, and trying to get the community out there now that, as she was saying, that sports are reopening and we can really have people out there. So maybe we can work together with the school and Westlake and just come up with some sort of idea like a Westlake night.
And I just have a question about that. So would you like some time to maybe think about what you would like that to look like at your school, and maybe talk to your school about what that would look like, and maybe come back in September and kind of let us know what your plan is?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
That's a great idea.
Okay. Sounds like something you talk to Coach Parks, the athletic director over there with, and, pick a day that, again, fits for home game and stuff, and market that a little bit. Sure, that's something we could do with social media and market out there, and, through the Westlake City page on Facebook, things like that, to draw interest in the community from the game.
I think that'd be great.
Now, are there any reports that would be required of Mr. Kalabowski as far as student issues, things of that nature that are taking place that the board would need to be made aware of? That way you can make recommendations possibly to council based on the reports, the issues, the concerns between the students at Seminole Ridge. So are you looking for a type of report, or is it just going to be for him to try to host events? Because like I said, he needs to know his roles and responsibilities as the student youth rep. So
I think, and this is just my opinion, you guys can, shoot away, but, I think for Thomas, I think your position or something that I envision too is maybe having you not just host events, but come up with ideas and initiatives, but also to be a person to kind of bridge conversation between Seminole Ridge, and us. If there are needs there in the school or things that you feel like the board should know, just that maybe we could initiate some, if the school needs anything, or if there's a way that we can make communication better with the school, but he could be a good support to bridge those things. I think like hosting a night like this is gonna, allow not just for Westlake, but just, the city, the surrounding city as well, to kind of come together. We're all working together. All of our kids go to the school, not just Westlake, but Waxahachie and other areas as well. So I think bridging support would be great. I don't know what that would look like. So that's open for discussion. But I do like that, like just initiating ways to get us together and bridge.
come up to the podium.
Thank you, Tom.
State your name and address for the record.
My name is Cindy Walker, 14921 Tangerine Boulevard, Waxahachie. My suggestion is we do have school advisory council, and we have that once a month, and we do have student representation on there. So maybe attending the meeting and presenting yourself there perhaps would be a good idea. So if you want to do that, the dates are out. They should be on the calendar probably in a couple weeks. So I would look for that. Okay.
I actually love that idea. It's a great liaison thing for you to be part of, because I don't know that there's a lot of student voice at the SAC meetings anyway, so having one with you would be, I think, would be outstanding for us.
We have 2 student representatives that attend our meetings, so that would be something you could do. Okay?
Sounds good, love it.
Now, what would we want, Thomas, like in terms of a report? I think I know what you're saying, like would he present information? Would he, is it best for him to?
How frequently does SAC meet?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah. So we could add them to the agenda or, just get them to the agenda would be maybe.
Because you could always bring back the things, the conversations that you have there, or, to us, that would be a really good way to communicate on a monthly basis.
Okay.
I think that'd probably be the best way, because you'll have parents in the room, other students, administration, teachers. So it's just a good way to kind of hear what they need and then bridge communication that way. I think that's a really great place to start. Now, in terms of how I would say, I don't know how we'd like that to look like. Do we want Thomas to, have maybe, type something up for us and just like bullet points of the things that you've, come up with in that month, or the ideas that you have, so that we have that as part of our agenda, or, like a point.
So you're looking something more like a memo, just like a brief synopsis of what actually happened at that advisory board meeting. And that way, if you guys have any questions when he goes back to the meeting, he can say, well, I presented before the education board. Can you answer these questions for me? So when I report back to them, I'll have an answer.
Yeah,
so like a memo.
Okay. Even though they're just points, I think that it'll help with the communication. There might be some things that we can address, and maybe some things that are maybe not appropriate for us to address, but I think that's a good place to start.
Okay.
You can bring back the minutes, maybe, and annotate what we could possibly help with.
Yeah, and he might be able to just say, all right, so these 3 points are good, to bring up to the board, or this is what they wanted me to share, or I think that's a good place to start.
So just so I'm clear, you're looking for the actual minutes from those advisory boards meetings that he will attend monthly, along with a memo, just a brief outline of what was spoken about, correct? Because I just heard board member Liriano mention meeting minutes.
I've just thought it would be a accurate description of what happened, and then he can maybe put his comments in with what he thinks that we could contribute to, help with. you need to know, like a summary of what, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, his little summary.
Relevant points, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it won't all pertain, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as it pertains to education.
Exactly.
Okay.
I do have some comments as well, some other things I wanted to chat about today. My list is a little bit long, but it's quick, I promise. So I did speak to Ms. Katrina Robinson about some initiatives at a previous meeting that we had in, I want to say it was May, sometime. And she has some great suggestions, and just we spoke a lot about how to bridge, conversations with people outside of our city, people within our city, and also how to give back to teachers, or how to, just think of teachers as we're going back to school. Something we talked about was like coffee and donuts, pre-week, that first week of school, and maybe delivering coffee and donuts to the schools that we serve in our areas. And so that brought up the question, so which schools? Because I know that we are, the city of Westlake is Golden Grove and Osceola, Creek Middle, Seminole Ridge High School, but we also service, schools outside of Westlake. Acreage, we have students in Westlake that attend Acreage Pines, Western Pines, some of the local schools. Yeah, there are local schools that our students don't just attend Westlake schools, and we want to serve Westlake as a community. So how do we, get out there and do, let's say, coffee and donuts? And so we talked about, well, what is that going to look like moving forward with funding? Who's going to pay for this, and who's going to help us in doing that? So I do have a meeting I'm going to attend on Monday with the CEO of Wellington Regional. Her name is Pam Tahan. I think I'm
Tahan.
Tahan. Pam T. And we're going to see if maybe we could bridge some support there, if they're able to maybe help with funding, something like that. I don't know, how that conversation is going to go, but I just wanted to make you guys aware that that is something that we're trying to do. That also brings up another question: who's going to deliver the coffee and the donuts? So who's going to deliver the coffee and the donuts? We're all working, so that's something to consider and think about. So maybe what I could do is, after our meeting on Monday, if we, if this is feasible, that maybe I could, reach out and just see if there's somebody that would be willing to help deliver. I don't mind doing it. I do have to, ask permission. I have a job, so I have to make sure that I'm able to do that. But I think that would be something as a nice gift to our teachers to welcome them back, as part of, and a gift from the Education and Youth Advisory Board.
Now, if the board is deciding, or if you're going to move forward with that, are you trying to do it like one specific day, or how is that going to work? And because logistics wise, because we know the first day of school is the 10th. You guys are educators, so we know you're going to be busy, and usually the first week or month is kind of, hectic, transportation, things like that. So these are things that you have to consider as the board as well. I know you said you're willing to do it, but you would have to get permission. But like I said, the logistics have to be sorted out. Yes. And then if you're going to be talking with the CEO, Mrs. Tahan, you may want to make sure the logistics are outlined clearly. That way, where you actually stand before committing to it.
That first week of school when students are actually in is probably out of the question. But the week before, that preschool week, when we're, either setting up classrooms or getting things ready, that might be a better week to do it, unless we wanted to do coffee and donuts maybe at a later time. But that's something I would definitely like to have an answer to Mrs. Tahan, so that I'm able to let her know, hey, this is what we need by this date. I know our staff starts the 4th, August 4th, which is a Wednesday. I know that the first day of school, I don't know about for everybody else, I know there are a lot of meetings the first day of school, and it might be a complicated day to do it, but maybe looking at that first week of school may be a more feasible thing to get some of us to get, pulled away.
I love the idea of reaching out and bringing a little gift just to get to know everybody. I personally am training the whole first week, like jam-packed, so unfortunately I couldn't, if we picked that week, I couldn't help deliver, but other times after the big start of the year, I think I could have some more flexibility.
And that's something we could consider too, is maybe it doesn't have to be like a, here, welcome back to school, that it could be, thank you for what you do at, any time. I would say within.
Yeah, I think the earlier the better.
Yeah.
That week for me with the new rollout of the curriculum.
Yeah, so and that might be what, everyone, I mean, I'm a little panicked, about it too, because this is right around the corner too. We have had the shortest summer, so,
But if you're available and willing and it works out. I mean.
yeah, I can, and I can throw out there that maybe the 4th or the 5th, that I can do it, and maybe throw out a date in, September even. It doesn't have to be August. I could throw out maybe like that, the day after whatever day after Labor Day is. I think I'm not sure what date it is, but that maybe we do like right at the beginning of September, that we do a thank you and have a day where
first month.
Yeah, and I could then take that day and just do it as a, and do that myself and work that out with my principal. But if we're good with doing donuts and coffee, then I could initiate, what day is it?
I think that's, according to district calendar, we're off the 6th and the 7th of September.
Gotcha.
Monday, Tuesday.
So maybe like that Wednesday, or, after a long weekend, which is the 8th, I believe.
September 6th is Labor Day, so yeah, we're off the 6th and the 7th.
So I can throw those dates out and have a conversation, and maybe that's something that we could initiate, or like I said, that August 4th or 5th, and I may be able to do that. Something else too was doing a back to school drive. I know in our city, that's something that we've done just as a community. We've done drives and we've donated to different schools in the city, and outside of the city as well. That maybe we could do that and initiate that. We only have 3 weeks left I think we have 3 weeks left. Yeah. So it makes me nervous. So some of the things that I thought is, hey, if we do, because I haven't seen anyone initiate it in the community. But I know that some people are kind of waiting to see, I wonder if someone else is going to do something, or what's going to come down the pipeline. That maybe we don't have to make it as big as a backpack drive and a school supply drive, that maybe we could do something like headphones. That was something I know last year for many schools, and I spoke to a principal about this as well, that headphones were something that were needed, and when they don't have them, they're expensive to replace. And a lot of kids come in with earbuds, and they don't need earbuds, we need to have headphones. So that maybe that's what we could do, like a headphone and stationary drive, or headphones and pencils, or even headphones and snacks. I know that Mr. Gavrilos had mentioned that the teachers are spending a lot of money, from their pockets, and to fund things in the classroom, and we don't even think about snacks. So maybe some of these non-perishable type of things, like a headphone and snack, drive, that's easy. Doesn't even need a lot of separation. It can be something we collect and then give back to several schools in the surrounding communities as well. That was just an idea. I don't mind initiating that. I just want to make sure that it's, everyone's comfortable with doing that. So, okay, I will try to work on that and this week. Just looking to see, I have lots of notes. This is a comment that I just wanted to make, especially as we go out, and certain people, again, if they go out into the community, and as this goes onto the website, City of Westlake website, is that the district is short 130 bus drivers, and that there is a job fair July 22nd, and that anyone interested should call the following number, and that's 561-242-6515. That's a big shortage in the district. That's a lot of bus drivers. And due to that shortage, it affects our community directly, because that means that's one less bus stop for our Westlake students that may need it for going out to different magnet programs. Schools like Acreage Pines or Lock Statue goes to schools in the surrounding community. If we have students that go to that live in our city that need that transportation or that mode of transportation to get to those schools, having that kind of shortage is not going to allow us to get a bus stop for those students in our city. So I thought that was important since it does affect us.
Touching on the busing, did I hear right from her? She said masks are required on the bus this year. Ms. McClellan,
That's what she said. I have not heard that, but that's what
I did write that, Miss Andrews.
I put a note on that. That was okay. Masks are required anywhere else on campus?
Yes, yes, masks will be required on the bus.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
So that's good information as well. I think it's important. I didn't know that, but
that was the one that I noted that. That was a.
Because my thought is if the students are thinking that masks are optional, they may not have them with them, so maybe that's something that even bus drivers could have or, on hand, because I see that as being there's things of confusion.
And do we know, are the free lunches continuing this year, or is that end at the end of the school year? Well,
I know we were running it through this year. I haven't officially heard, but I believe they're going to continue through next year. We have our back to school meeting August 2nd, and I know some additional items are being presented to the school board on July 22nd. Following that, we should have a little more clarity. I do not know positive, but I believe that is the case.
Thank you. The only last thing that I wanted to bring up, and so this is something that I spoke about with Ms. Katrina Long Robinson, was having some kind of event, and she mentioned, it'd be fun to have like a pool party or, at the adventure park for Meet the Education and Youth Advisory Board. A lot of people don't know the members or who make up the members. So it would be a nice event. It doesn't have to be a pool party, but just to have something that we could host, and that she would be a part of as well as just a council member. In figuring that out, I had a conversation with the VP, the Vice Mayor, JP O'Connor, and just kind of asked, what are the logistics, what that looks like. There's a lot involved, maybe even permitting, depending on if you wanted food trucks there, if you wanted a band there, what the capacity would be, who you would be inviting, would it just be the city of Westlake, would it be open to everybody? So there were so many little pieces. It wasn't just something that you could say, sure, let's do it and let's have it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and maybe if, for next meeting, if you guys think of any ideas or on ways that maybe we could have some kind of event that would help the city meet us. A lot of people, don't know that the board necessarily, exists in its capacity. So it would be nice to kind of put the name.
That would open the dialogue a little bit more with our.
I agree, and hear more from the community and get more input and have them involved and come to the meetings and things. So that's something I wanted to throw out there. It would have been nice to have it this summer, but the summer was so short. And like I said, there was so much involved. It just didn't seem like the right time. And we could do it, later on down the road. It doesn't have to be right away, but I just wanted to throw that out there. That's it.
You said that would be a complicated thing to coordinate with.
Yeah, he said it just depending on, what we wanted to do. Like if we wanted to have a community event, of course we would have to talk to the management team up at, the property management, to make sure that that was something that we could do, and then to what capacity. Because we would have to limit the space as well, depending on, the restrictions, but if we had a big turnout, at what point would we turn people away? Would it be open to everybody? Would it just be something just for Westlake families? What would we be using just the pool? Would we be using the adventure park? So I guess that takes a little more planning. I just kind of saw it as, sure, everybody come to the pool versus all of the planning that would be involved in doing something like that.
So I could see something like that if we did, that would be an easy way to do a school supply drop off kind of event. Yeah. Something like that.
That's what
come, they
too,
drop
yeah.
off the stuff that we have, and then we can disseminate that out.
Yes.
Essentially, and make it, since they're dropping off things, and, it gives us something to actually do, collecting things or whatever. So I like that idea of an event. I just don't know when we would, again, in 3 weeks.
That would be, I wouldn't even know where to start. But it might be, even just for now, maybe as we try to organize this drop off, or if we do whatever, like a headphone drop off or whatever it is, that we might have just maybe a designated spot, maybe meet in front of the adventure park on this day between this hour and this hour to drop off supplies, and then maybe some of us, could be there to just kind of receive the products and say hello. Can we think of a date then for when we would need to have these supplies? Let's see.
I would say ideally probably right before preschool.
Like the week before preschool, yeah. So the last week so 2 weeks.
Preschool starts on the, what's it, the 4th, right? So we're looking at.
And I've seen Westlake do some crazy things in a very short amount of time, like
Yes.
some amazing things. So, maybe even like Friday or the week, like Friday the 30th or Thursday the 29th. And I don't mind it being on the weekend either.
Yeah, we could, or even on if it was a weekday, and we could pull off like that Monday the 2nd, something like that before preschool starts up.
Gotcha.
If you wanted to do a weekday like an afternoon thing, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean Monday that would be good too. My only concern would be
a bad idea too, though.
separate. I mean, like I said, this isn't gonna be like the backpacks, the pencils, and things like that, because I felt that was gonna be hard to separate and do all of that. But maybe if we're keeping it pretty simple, but something that the teachers need, that it'll be a quick thing to kind of separate into. We have to organize the materials.
I mean, I know we've done a backpack drive before. Brandy Duggar coordinated that a couple years back, and it was.
And she did a book drive too.
Yeah, and it was significant for most people just brought stuff.
So I think maybe let's plan on. I'll see. I can reach out to some of the community members. I know that there is some interest, and just kind of go. Maybe from the 29th to the 2nd, pick a date.
Pick a date in there, and maybe do a collection event at the at the pool park or whatever.
Yes.
People come in, drop it off, go swim, do whatever.
Exactly. Do whatever. Just drop off.
And then we could have volunteers there to help us kind of put together.
Yeah, and make it easy, because I think sorting, that's gonna be easy. We did it last year.
From that point forward, it's not hard to take it to elementary middle schools here and.
Yes, I agree.
Let them disseminate them.
Yeah, we can even have volunteers at that point. Yeah, I could work with the community in that as well, so.
Because then during preschool, they can be dropped off or whatever.
Exactly, yeah, and I know last year with the book drive, during the first and second, it was still going on, it was ongoing. It didn't have to be like right at the beginning, because they need these materials all year long. They're gonna need them all year long, so.
But I think if we target those dates, like right before our preschool, that's when parents are going out buying the supplies. Anyways, when you go out, you buy a couple extra reams of paper, you buy a couple extra this, that. I know we went out, we bought 2 or 3 backpacks the last time, brought them, so that would be,
Yeah, so I think.
So we want to see that out there a little earlier, so maybe talk to, maybe like Brandy and those people, and we can kind of facilitate that with them.
Yeah, I agree. And are you all okay with, is there anything particular that you want to collect, or are we okay with doing?
I like the backpack drive we did before, and then overall, whatever they brought, basic school supplies, you just buy a little bit extra, it's on your kids' lists, whatever. And then, and then it would also allow them to donate. Maybe you don't have kids, but we want to help out too.
Yeah.
Putting it on social media and things like that, put on the city's page, and we can do what we wanted to donate, they can. Then we can bring those backpacks, and we'll call them school, we'll donate to school, whatever.
So we could even
we had headphones last time too, and all kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, and we could we could even make it like, we could include that in there, backpacks and headphones, whatever's the most needed, to get the kids kind of started. So yeah, I think that's a good place to start. Cool. Thank you guys for listening.
Also, Chair, just want to mention, you brought up at the prior meeting about funding for the board. And I did check with the city manager, King Castle, and I just needed to find out information in reference to the type of funding the board was looking for, how the funds would actually be used, and how the funds will be facilitated. Because I know you mentioned it at a prior meeting about funding for the board.
I guess for, initiatives like this, supporting the community, schools with supplies, any kind of needs that teachers and students may need in the community, hosting events that help bring community and bridge, that communication. I don't, does anybody else have any ideas or
I
funding?
think that's right. I mean, as we're education and youth advisor, I think that certain activities like you're talking about that will bridge that gap a little bit, and help us connect.
I think, yeah, that's.
Okay, and one more you had mentioned about grants. It would be pretty much the same thing, like the type of grants that you were looking to apply for, how would they be facilitated, how much, and how the grants will be awarded, because you had questions on funding and grants.
I am unsure of the type of grants. I mean, I did learn a lot today, you know, by talking to Mr. James Gavrilos. I know that there are a lot of different grants out there for teachers and things. I think that's what I was thinking more of, like grants to help support teachers and but we have, with that information, I think that is a good place to start. As a board though, I don't know if, you know, I'm not sure what that would look like in terms of us meeting us for us. I think
Down the road as for like
scholarships.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That would be where I would think.
Once we hear maybe more of the needs from Thomas, we can see if we could help with getting any grant funding, specific grant funding. That would be great.
So once you hear back from him with his report, then you guys can determine what scholarships or grants you would like the board to go after for the students in the area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments? Okay, there being no further business, comments, or discussion, this meeting is adjourned at, oh, I think Ms. Marcia Andrews is raising her hand.
I just want to make a clarification. Face masks are optional for the buses. I went back to that. They are optional. So I didn't want. Yes. And I will send you the PowerPoint presentation to your offices. As of June 23rd, these are the guidelines that we're working on. If for some reason something changes, I'll keep you updated, but we're working off of the guidelines based on June 23rd. But yes, they'll be optional on the bus as well as at school, face masks.
Thank you.
And just want to clarify really quick, the next meeting is September, you said 23rd at 6:30?
Yes.
Okay.
There being no further business, comments, or discussion, this meeting is adjourned at 8:16 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.